Alrighty, so shit times part 3. Fucking hell. So this one is gonna be about my boyfriend, because like seriously, I know exactly how I got to the point of like me leaving and packing my bags and leaving. I completely forgot about it because it's just one of those like really intense moments. Like I remember feeling sad, right, before we broke up and stuff, but I forgot how intense it feels when you are in it, you know, like when the emotion like goes away and you use your brain, you know, like usually things are not as a big deal as they feel. But just because recently I was back there, it kind of made me like understand like, oops, like it was like these moments, and just because at that time they were like very intense and they were happening quite regularly, it just made me like, you know, like leave. So basically what happened is it's connected to the landlord situation, right? Because at the beginning, I think I mentioned it, but I don't know because I just can't remember what I say. When I sent the email with the notice to the landlord and stuff, my boyfriend and his response, yeah, it was about his response, which was like, you know, you've got the contract ends, you know, at the end of next year, and until that point, like you will, you know, you are still the tenant and whatever. I didn't want to talk about it with my boyfriend. I really didn't want to, because I knew that his reaction would be, you know, like angry, that he would just make it worse, right? Because in these situations, I don't need his fucking opinion. I don't need his, like, you know, to tell me that, yeah, the guy is an asshole and we should, you know, like, you know, punch his face and we should, like, you know, do this. And like, I don't need him to bring more negativity into the situation. I just need a hug. I just need him to tell me like, you know, we can get through this. If you need me to help you with anything, just let me know, but just shut the fuck up. My mother is doing the same. You know, every time there is like something, she is like, you know, you should do this and I will do this and this is wrong and you should do this. And I just don't need people like this in my life. I just don't, and I just hate it when, you know, they give you this like unsolicited advice and stuff. And actually after that he sent me some, you know, TikTok video or like Instagram video about this, when there are like guys discussing like this situation when like a woman approaches a guy with some issues, and the men, they start like dealing with the issue, and then the woman gets angry because they are dealing with the issue. But actually in the video they say that, you know, because the guy says like, when, you know, she asked me for help and I help, she's angry. And the other guy is saying like, no, she's not asking you for help, she just needs like emotional support. And it's exactly that, you know, when I say that, you know, I'm dealing with something, I don't need his opinions and him telling me what I need to do, because I would ask, if I wanted his opinion, I would ask, what's your opinion? Do you know? But I didn't want that. I didn't. I just wanted him like to like emotionally support me. I know that guys are not capable of that, and I know that we have different brains when it comes to this, but it genuinely like pissed me off. But eventually I said that to him. His reaction was exactly this, like this negative like bullshit, and I didn't want to talk about it. And he was like, I will contact, you know, like this person and like this lawyer and this lawyer and this lawyer, and we will like, you know, deal with that because this is illegal. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want to be dealing with like lawyers and like get into some shitty, you know, like legal bullshit. I just want to like deal with the situation like normally. So I will do what is like, you know, best. I will do what I can do in like in like good way, non-confrontational way, because I don't want to like tell him like, you know, you are chatting shit, you know, and this is legal and my lawyer says this, because he's a fucking lawyer, you know. I'm not gonna argue with a lawyer, because if I make him angry, he can genuinely like bring me down or like, you know, do something, you know, because that's what he does, you know. And lawyers, business people, and like, you know, all of these like top managers, they're assholes. They don't give a fuck, and he doesn't give a fuck about me. So I want to be the nice, calm person, do as he commands, and just deal with the situation in a calm way, which my boyfriend didn't agree with. So this situation was like doomed right from the start, because I just didn't listen to his advice and whatever. So after I told him that that I am going to be looking for the other tenant and stuff, like his reaction was like nothing. And then I got into this, like, you know, writing when I posted the ad, and I was like, oh my god, like a lot of people are like messaging me and stuff. Like his reaction was like, like whatever. And it was like really like pretty intense during the week. And like throughout the week he had these like comments, you know, like, if you have time you can hoover my car, or like our car, or whatever. And I was like, if you have time. And I exploded in those moments, and I was like, if you have time, like you see that I'm on my fucking phone all from the morning till the evening, like in between the lessons, and like it's too much. And you just like, how dare you can say like, if you have time, like if you have nothing to do, you can do something that is just not necessary at this point. Do you know what I mean? And just like, he was pissing me off like with these like kinds of like comments, and he was like not really like helpful. And I was like telling him about these conversations with those like stupid people, and he was like sometimes saying these things like, you know, like, you shouldn't do this at the first place, and you know, because it's his job. And I know this, but you know, there is a way for me to deal with the situation, right? You know, like I can deal with this, you know, like this way. It's a possibility to get things done, you know, as soon as possible. So I'm gonna choose this one, non-confrontational. Oh fucking hell, I hate this word. You know, like I don't want to get into any like arguments or whatever. Like I just want to do it like this way. But just because he disagreed, he had this like stupid approach. And like on Friday I was like really like exhausted. And actually I think it was on Friday when, you know, I just got like so drained, and I just got a bit grumpy, and I don't know what exactly what he said or whatever. And then he was like what's wrong? And I was like, you're just a shit boyfriend. I just told him that you're a shit boyfriend because, you know, now I'm going through something and I feel like I'm going through it alone and I need a bit of support, and you're not giving it to me. And then he was like, yeah, like I offered my help with the lawyers and with like this, and you didn't even like consider that, and you just do it your way anyway, so don't expect support from me when you do it your way and stuff. Which I do understand. Like now I kind of like get it, and I know where the agreement like started, but I just hated like his fucking approach in the moment, because he can like never admit that, you know, he's wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, so it made me cry in that moment because I was just so exhausted. And I told him that even like the situation with my mum, because he had these like comments that, what did he say? Like, your mum is probably not missing you too much, because that was on that Friday, like the 2 weeks ago, that was that Friday or something, when she sent the message, you know. And he was like, oh, your mom is probably not missing you very much when he's able like not to talk to you for so long and stuff. Ha ha ha. And it was meant to be a joke, but at the same time, like it's not funny, because it's true, and it's not nice when, you know, your best friend / your mother like doesn't miss you and doesn't want to talk to you, you know. And I told him, yeah, but it's all because of you, you know, so you should not be making fun of this situation because you are the cause of this, do you know? Which was also not nice from my side, because it's my problem, I caused it, it was like my decisions, but at the same time it was because of him, right? So like I'm looking at both perspectives. Like I understand his approach, I understand my approach and stuff, but it's just like really messy, yeah. But the main event that I wanted to talk about was, which one? Oh my god, it was in that, oh my god, my brain is dead. My brain is dead. But that was the first time we had this like argument, and it just made me cry. Or maybe it was not like, you know, the argument that made me cry, and it was the situation like with the landlord being a little bit of an asshole. My mum, you know, just like disappearing, and just like my boyfriend like not agreeing with me. So, you know, if I don't agree with him, that means that I just cannot expect like his help and stuff, you know. The moment, you know, I just decide to do things like my way, then it's wrong, and he's not going to disagree, and he's just like not gonna, you know, support me and stuff. And I just felt like really lonely. And in these moments, you know, like I feel that what's the point of being here when like I'm alone anyway, And I had this feeling, I don't know how to explain it, but you know, when, you know, like what's the point of me being in a relationship when, you know, I'm not in a relationship, like an emotional one. It's just like two people sharing a house or like living in a house, but not like, you know, supporting each other or like helping each other. And there was like a lot of these moments when, you know, I just felt incredibly lonely, although he was like sitting next to me, because I couldn't talk about a certain thing, or I just like, he didn't give me what I needed, which was like the like emotional support, like rather than, you know, like advice and like, you know, you should do this and you should do that, and you know what you do is stupid or whatever. But anyway, and recently the main issue was, what was it? It was this weekend when we had an argument about, that's the main thing I wanted to talk about, but now I just can't remember because I'm stuck with the landlord situation. And it was the fact, that because we were painting, it was the painting situation, because I'm obliged to paint the flat, because I have it in my contract that if I stay for like less than 5 months, then I have to paint the walls. And I had to paint the walls because I made some like marks, and you know, there was some like shit on the walls, so I had to paint it. And we agreed to do it on Friday. So Friday morning we went there and we were painting it, and he was like moaning all the bloody time about everything, that, you know, like it was not done like properly. But then he didn't do it properly. He couldn't like reach the top, like the ceiling. Like we were not painting the ceiling, but because we realized that the paint was much lighter, because there are different shades of white. I don't know why, but there are, and the one that we had was much lighter. So instead of like painting over the marks on the spots on the walls, we had to paint the entire wall, which was not good news, obviously. But you know, even like before, when we were like getting things ready, like my boyfriend, he was like really grumpy about it, and as he was like describing things, he was like, you know, telling me what to do, you know, like, you take this and you mix the paint and you do this and you do that. And I was like, you don't have to tell me, because I hope like you will help me out with it. And he was like, yeah, but I don't know, he just had this like dodgy approach that he just didn't want to do it. I don't know, it smelled like that or whatever. Eventually we got that, and it was on Friday morning. He actually went to this like institution to pick up some things or whatever, like for work. That meant that he didn't have to work that day, because like the military, it's like military clothes, you know, like when you work in there, you can go to their like shop and you can get, for some points that you are collecting over time, you can get some things or whatever. And because that's in the city where I lived, like when you go there, it counts as a work time, or you have like 4 hours to go there to pick up the things, and then on normal day you would go back to work. But on Friday, you know, you've got a day off basically. So he organized that in order to help me with the painting. So he went there and I started to paint, and I saw that the paint is a little bit too light. And then he went there and he was like, you know, like painting, but he was just trying to do it like as fast as possible. And you know, and he didn't reach the ceiling and stuff, right? So there was still a lot to do, and we had some things like in the evening. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, he had a party, in the evening, like a work party with his colleagues and shit like this. And like we agreed that, you know, we have to go there on Saturday as well, because I just wanted to like have that ready as soon as possible or whatever. So he knew, like we talked about it, that we, you know, would have to go there on Saturday as well. And there was this like party, and I drove him there, and then eventually he called me and he organized somebody to, you know, take me there as well. So we had a lovely evening there, like together. I joined him there and we were drinking, and he started like pouring shots, and he got really drunk, right? And in the morning I woke up before him, obviously, and he slept till like 11. Like at 11 o'clock I started to be a bit nervous, right? because on Saturday afternoon we were supposed to go somewhere as well, or supposed to do something as well. I can't remember what it was, but you know, like I started to get a bit nervous at 11, and I was thinking like, you know, like I will make him breakfast because he's gonna be like hungry or whatever. So I made him breakfast, I brought him drinks and stuff, and I was hoping that he would like wake up, but he was still in bed. And then he got into the living room and he was just lying, and I was like, shall we go or something? And he like didn't want to, and then I was like waiting, and I was like, okay, so should I go there by myself? Like, should I finish the painting, you know, by myself, you know? And he was like at some point he even said, you know, like, what am I gonna do there anyway? And I was like, it's not fucking done. Like, it's not done. Like, we need a ladder to get to the top, and we need to finish the painting, and I need to like polish the windows and like clean everything, clean the bathroom, and like all of those things. That there is a lot of shit, you know, that should be done. And also like if I have a meeting with the landlord, you know, like this week, or like it was next week at that point, I need everything to be ready. And this is the only time, because I had lessons on Sunday, so it was the only day for me to get it like ready for the, you know, for the meeting and stuff. And he was like, he really didn't want to go, which I understand, but he like really didn't have to get that drunk, right? That was the main issue that I kind of like had. And we got there and he did it, you know, again, like as fast as possible. Then he was just sitting there. I was cleaning the things, but I felt the pressure of like, you know, him waiting for me, and I just didn't feel comfortable because I knew that, you know, he wanted to leave. And he was constantly saying, you know, well, I'm done and stuff. And I was like, I'm just not. So to some extent, I really hope that the meeting with the landlord will be next week. So I will have time to go there this week, because I just want to make sure that everything is perfect and everything is clean, and the painting, you know, has come off like perfect. Because if there are any like, you know, shits, then, you know, he's not gonna give me my deposit back. But again, that's just money, like I don't give a fuck, but you know, at the same time it would be lovely. So like it was a big deal, and he was like moaning constantly, and I was like really exhausted, and you know, like fucking hell, like it was terrible. And then it was on Sunday, right? What is the day today? It's Tuesday, I don't know, it was probably Sunday. We were in a bath and we were just like talking about like things and stuff, and I mentioned this, that, you know, it was, yeah, it was on, because on Sunday, right, yeah, on a Friday we had just chilled evening, and on Sunday his friend needed help with painting some roof somewhere. He had some like part-time job or whatever, and he was painting some roof. So my boyfriend decided not to drink as much, you know, on Saturday evening, and he actually woke up at like 7 in the morning or like 8 in the morning, you know, in order to go and help his friend. And that is something that, you know, sets me off, like that, the fact. And it really pissed me off. So actually when he came back, like I was grumpy as fuck, because it genuinely pissed me off, because when I needed help with something that is quite important at the moment, which is like dealing with the fucking flat, so it's like over, and he's moaning about it all the time, and now there is an opportunity to finish everything, you know, and he's not cooperative. And for me, he wouldn't like wake up, he wouldn't like not drink, no, he had to get drunk as fuck. And he was like at 12 o'clock, it was like a really big deal for him to, you know, get into the car. He couldn't drive, or he didn't want to drive, so I had to drive. And I'm like a very stressed driver, like I'm a good driver, I think, but at the same time it's not like chill time for me. Like I have to, like I don't feel comfortable, and he knows that. But anyway, I had to drive there. And you know, he wouldn't do this for me, but for his friend, do you know, like he would wake up early, he would not drink, and he would like be ready, you know, to help him. And it like pissed me off, like this attitude, because we had some other of these things, you know, in the past as well. Oh my god, 19 minutes, fucking hell. Like we had this before, when, you know, he would do things for his friends but not for me, and I told him this, that it's not quite fair, and I'm pissed off because of that, because for his friends, like, he would do anything, and I needed his help and he didn't want to do it, and I had to beg him, and he was like moaning about it and stuff, and he was like, yeah, but eventually, you know, I did go, you know, even like I suffered through the pain and whatever, and eventually I did it, so you should be grateful. I was like, I am grateful, but still, it's not like, you know, it's not the same. Your approach is not the same, you know, the way you help your friends and you serve your friends. The other day, you know, this friend's girlfriend wanted to, you know, go somewhere at like 6 in the morning. So for her, he would wake up at 6 in the morning. He wouldn't do that for me. He wouldn't. I can guarantee that. Anyway, so like for him, and I told him that, and instead of, you know, like him saying, you know, like, I'm sorry, like maybe I drank too much, or I shouldn't do it, or whatever, or just like admitting, you know, his fault just a little bit, he was like, yeah, I did it, and what, and I just did, and he just didn't want to admit it. And then eventually, oh my god, I'm so angry and sweaty. Then eventually he like said something like, yeah, and it's quite funny that I've never seen you, you know, clean so much, you know, like this house, but in that flat you were like cleaning so much, or whatever. So, and this is another thing that he used to do a lot when I was like approaching him with something, with a problem, and his response was, you know, like never like I'm sorry or something. It was like, no, what I did is completely fine, and you don't do this, or you do this. And he started like biting back and like attacking me with something completely irrelevant in that situation. So I was trying to deal with one thing, and he was like, you know, like attacking me with another thing. And I was like, can we just deal with the first situation first, and then we can talk about something that you have a problem with? But it's impossible. It's impossible to talk to him during these moments, because it's just like, it's just not possible. Because he is just so defensive and he's not listening, and I'm not like shouting at him, or like I'm not being horrible, you know, but he's just not listening. That like the moment you just like tell him something, you know, that you are not happy with, he gets into this like defense mode, and it's just impossible to talk about it. And I don't know how to deal with it, and you know, he just makes me feel stupid on the top of like, you know, like feeling sad and like not appreciated and stuff. And it's like this cocktail of emotions. And at that time, you know, it was happening a lot. You know, we had like, I don't know, every week there was something like this where, you know, he would do something for his friends and not for me. And we had an argument, and he started like, you know, biting back, and I was feeling really, really sad. And then his like not really helpful approach was like bringing me down like more and more and more, when I decided like I was not really like happy. And I completely forgot about that, you know. And now I know. Like now it's better. I don't take it as personally, and I can like easily forgive. Like not easily, I'm still like, you know, working on it, but I can see how that's, you know, thing. But I have to like find a way for me to, you know, share these things with him without like attacking him, because in his eyes I can see that, you know, I was attacking him. And you know, when you are being attacked, like it's a natural response to, you know, bite back, right? So I do understand why he reacted the way he reacted. At the same time, it pisses me off, and I want to find a way how to communicate these things without causing an argument and without him taking it personally. Maybe if I include more compliments, and if I'm like more chilled about it. But I am chilled about it, never mind. Yeah, I have to work on it, but I want to work on it. So yeah, but that's that. Yeah, bye. Fucking hell, seriously, I'm really, really exhausted, and my knees are killing me. So I'm gonna So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take my doggy for a swim, because as I said, it's 30 degrees outside. And I'm wishing you the best of luck, my darling, because you will need it. And stay happy and healthy, and I will speak to you soon, hopefully, or maybe not, I don't know. And we will, yeah, I hope you solved this, and you know, please tell me how you do it. And I hope his mummy is okay, and with the landlord it's okay. Yeah, like we will see. So stay happy and healthy,